webinar series on how to succeed with composable commerce by using our accelerator approach. This series consists of 4 parts, and this is part 3 in our series. And today's topic will be about unlocking B2B growth through the use of product discovery. And we will speak for approximately 45 minutes and then open up for questions. So if you have any questions, please use the chat and we will pick up the questions at the very end. My name is Robin Slops. I work for Columbus, and dialing in also, we have our 2 colleagues from a distance.
Hi, my name is Rasmus Holsti. I'm a partner manager here at Klevu, based out of Helsinki, Finland.
Great.
And hi everyone, my name is Aaron Stanic. I'm a solutions architect at Klevu, based out of Osijek, Croatia.
Great. And Rasmus and Aaron will do most of the talking today, but before we dive into today's topic, I would like to inform you about N3XT, which is our composable commerce accelerator. This accelerator consists of pre-built architecture, user interface, services, components, and integrations. So you can be up and running and modify your customer journeys, launch promotions, and add channels in no time at all. All the SaaS components we have in the package have been carefully selected and is based on Mac architecture, meaning they are microservices based using an API first approach. They are natively running in the cloud and are offering headless services, meaning that you are ready for change. Our accelerator allows you to fulfill your business objectives and tailor rich and differentiated customer experiences, and add business components as your needs increase over time. Our N3XT accelerator is based on our gained industry knowledge over the past 15 years we have been in business, and the 300 plus e-commerce projects that we have built. So with the help of our accelerator, we help businesses transform and transition into the world of composable commerce, allowing companies to fully benefit the best of breed technology by our leading partners. And we have put to market an open and flexible package that allow for platform modularity by using our 3x combination. Experience, meaning that we embrace a customer-first mindset in our front end, powered by UX best practices, atomic design, and design systems to ensure a rich, powerful, and fast front-end experience. The explore part, meaning that we allow for innovation and experimentation to happen at a much higher pace by providing tools to deploy individual business components to make POCs and other things. And finally, extend, meaning that you can compose your solution based on your business needs and extend or add business logic if need be, meaning that you have the flexibility to scale the solution, and that helps you to reduce your total cost of ownership over time. Great. And with that intro, I will leave the word to Rasmus.
Thank you, Robin. So as Robin mentioned, sort of the plan for today is to talk more around B2B and how you can unlock your growth within B2B using product discovery. So we've actually constructed this webinar to consist of 3 parts. So we'll start briefly around what product discovery actually is, then moving on a little bit more to understanding the current landscape within B2B, and then finally going over some general tips around B2B conversion and how you can solve those, along with maybe some tools you can actually use as well. So as mentioned, today's topic, how to unlock your B2B growth with product discovery. Now, I think it is important to first kind of narrow down that when we talk about product discovery, what are we actually talking about? And in its very simplest form, product discovery describes the process when customers or shoppers are arriving at your online store and are exploring your product range. Now, either if they have this very specific product in mind or simply browsing the catalog, they've expressed an interest towards your specific catalog. And product discovery tends to make or seeks to make this entire process as seamless and as relevant and as meaningful as possible. So with product discovery, what we are aiming to do is to make sure that the shoppers feel that whatever they are doing on the site feels relevant and meaningful to them. And really all the content or products they are viewing feel somehow relatable to them. And specifically in a B2B world where typically the catalogs are very big, this can easily be sort of a jungle. So making sure that you are easily providing those relevant products to your customers become a very important factor. And considering as we always have Google a few clicks away. Now here at Klevu, we believe that innovation shouldn't be difficult, and innovation shouldn't be for only a select few. It should be open for everyone, and it should be an easy way to kind of use these types of tools. And that's why our mission really is to democratize product in online retail. So what we really want to do is to empower businesses to be able to be successful and achieve their business goal by using very highly working solutions. And since Klevu is a Mac solution, we are able to also provide these type of technologies in a very flexible and customizable way that will then kind of be tailored towards any specific business needs. So what is Klevu actually offering? We are offering a full set of product discovery solutions or a product discovery platform. Now, Klevu's product discovery platform consists of 4 independent solutions, yet all part of the same platform to provide a very seamless and highly relevant customer experience or product discovery experience. So what our platform consists of is our site search, something called category merchandising, that's aimed for your category pages, product recommendations that can use across the entire site, along with our recent solution called Moi, which is a conversational search. So really, we are taking care of the entire customer or product discovery journey across the entire site. So for those who like to directly go into the search bar, those who like to browse across category pages and narrow down, to providing upsell opportunities or inspirational through product recommendations, and finally Moi, which is a virtual assistant. So if we look a little bit more on the B2B landscape of today, I think in many ways, B2B has for many years been sort of a traditional business, but we're seeing more and more of how B2B is converting to a B2C model. And B2B has typically been very much of a personal relationship building model. You used to maybe have more face-to-face meetings, a lot of emails back and forth. You might have had a few like direct contacts to certain suppliers or buyers. And again, a lot of emails back and forth where you're just browsing through catalogs and kind of reviewing the best prices. But we've seen that that model no longer kind of exists. It's no longer really enough to simply have a well-working B2B site. It needs to start to cater more towards the customer experience rather than function. And we've seen this with many of our customers and also through research. And I think kind of the research suggests that actually 80% of the buying decisions within B2B is actually based on the customer experience rather than the price offering. And I think a big part of why we're seeing this change is the fact that it's the younger generation that is growing up now that is in the buying or making the buying purchases. So currently it's like 44% of the B2B buyers are millennials. And of course, millennials have grown up in this digital world and gotten used to everything being digital and having a good digital experience. And these people are now starting to expect that also to have this very customer-centric attention in their personal lives as they have, or sorry, in their professional lives as they have in their personal lives. So it's very much transforming to B2C. So I think, yeah, it's very important to kind of realize that it's B2B is not really what it used to be. And specifically, you know, going well and beyond what is expected, I think that makes a huge difference. And within B2B, if we kind of think about also some of the challenges that we have there, it's usually the traffic that goes or comes to a B2B site it tends to be very intentional, meaning that most of the traffic that goes into a B2B site, they more or less know what they are after. It's seldom that someone just goes and browses the entire catalog without any clue. So it's very important to have that in mind and know that your shoppers more or less know what they are after. And I think that also speaks volumes that research suggests that 92% of B2B purchases actually starts with a search. And also that 71% of people prefer to not interact with a salesperson, but rather do their own research. So again, we know that the traffic tends to be intentional. They know what they want. And therefore, B2B stores should always strive to make sure to quickly serve their customers and provide them with relevant results and make sure that they can reach their sort of end goal of finding the right products very quickly. Because again, here the issue is, of course, Google will always be that one or a few clicks away. So very important to capture the shopper's attention immediately. And here at Klevu, some of the key pillars we lean towards to make sure that we are able to provide these relevant journeys to shoppers in a B2B world, but also a B2C is, well, one is machine learning that goes into Klevu's AI. And when we talk about machine learning here, we mean that Klevu will always monitor what the shoppers are actually doing on the site. So it will monitor what people are searching for, what are they clicking on, which products are they interacting with, and ultimately what are they buying. And then Klevu will use this information on a rolling basis to optimize the search, the category pages, the product recommendations, and all the time learn from these type of behaviors and become smarter and smarter over time as it learns from your shoppers. The second part that goes into Klevu's AI is natural language processing, or NLP. And natural language processing is all about understanding the intent behind the search query. So instead of looking at individual keywords, Klevu's natural language processing will actually analyze the search query and identify that what is someone actually searching for and what is the product they are after based upon the information that's been given. We're also providing, of course, advanced merchandising and analytics tools to our customers to make sure that they have all the tools they need to work with solutions like a product discovery platform, and analytics to give you real-time data so you can make actually formal decisions based upon what is going on the site. We're also offering a personalization engine, which allows for a one-to-one personalization to provide very relevant results across the entire page. And we are, of course, as mentioned earlier, Mac architecture based. So we can integrate to the platform or customize the solution so that it fits to the specific business needs in a very flexible yet customizable way. But now, so what do we actually do to solve some of these B2B challenges? The first thing that is very obvious, but still we see the several times that is missing, and it's starting with search. So looking at actually where do you place your search bar? How prominent is it? Is it easily to find or not? And usually, of course, you would like to have this as visible and as easily or how to easy to find as possible, but more as well to actually provide some suggestions on what you could search for. So ideally, what we would like to do is to encourage shoppers to use longer search query, not only like a few keywords, but actually more towards sentences. And a good thing to do is just to highlight here, for example, as Trading Depot has, that you could either search by a product name, a code, a brand, but it could be really anything. So ideally, what we would like to get is something like this: good quality fresh cherry tomatoes. Now, I understand that maybe not all shoppers would be able to search for this, but the very interesting part is that once people start to search in this way across an e-commerce store, we've seen that the conversion rate actually soars when we reach above 3 words. So it has a huge difference when people can actually start to search in a more natural way. And some of the examples of how you could actually search and how the natural language processing capabilities come into effect would be if you look at some example like this. So here I've searched for 708 millimeters times 908 millimeters compared to 78 centimeters dash 98 centimeters. But because of this natural language processing, we will be able to identify that what we are searching for is actually the exact same thing. It's just millimeters and centimeters, but we can understand that they are the same. So I think it's very important, specifically in something like B2B, to be able to identify the small nuances and understand that they are the same thing, even though someone is just expressing themselves in a different way.
Yeah, I can just add to that that we find that most customers we help within the B2B context typically have their own product IDs, but it could be supplier IDs that the customer is used to knowing. So it can be multiple product IDs actually tying into the same product. So this is a great example of where we need a smart, powerful search engine to be able to cater for this.
Yeah, correct. And I wanted to show you here one other thing that we actually do when it goes into languages, and it's something called catalog enrichment. So what we do at Klevu is that we've built out these linguistic libraries that is based across different industries. And what we do is that we automatically enrich the product data. So in this example, if we have a word or a pipe, Klevu will automatically know that tube and hose, for example, are synonyms to pipe, and we will automatically add that data in, which means that for the shoppers, the number of searchable keywords automatically increases with 2 to 3 times. And this gives shoppers a much more flexible way of searching. So you don't have to be very specific, or you don't have to use the specific name that is given in the catalog name, but you can actually use more of these type of synonyms ways and allow for, again, a more flexible way of searching. A similar thing we do is that we actually decompound words as well. So if we have here, for example, the word hammer drill, Klevu can identify the words within this entire sentence. So we will understand that hammer is a word and drill is a word. And again, this results in having a much more flexible way, and you can start to search more like this. So here we have, for example, nail gun, and we have a nailer. But because of this natural language processing, Klevu will be able to identify that they are the same thing, it's just search in a different way. And again, we're getting the right results no matter how we are searching. So I think it's very important to allow shoppers to search in this kind of way, where essentially the search more tailors towards them. You don't have to kind of change your behavior to fit into the search, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I think it ties back to the kind of millennial analogy you brought up before. I think, they will have more a Google way of searching on your e-commerce store. So without having that specific industry keyword in mind, but rather the kind of common to you keywords to search for. This is exactly the kind of scenario where most search engines actually fall short, because they are just specific on that text word search and not understanding synonyms or similar.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you hit the nail on the head there with like Google. The people that have grown up with Google, I mean, they would start to expect more and more that you should be able to search that way. And now when we are entering sort of into the AI or next generation of AI, will just increase even further. One other example when it goes into this is, of course, as you mentioned earlier, Robin, that sometimes you might search for actually a more of a model number or the supplier's model number. And that's what we see as well. So here I just took a quick screenshot of this, for example, where if you were to search by that product or the model number, we are still able to identify, even though it's misspelled, we can still identify that it's for that specific region. So we're allowing still for error tolerance. So you don't have to be, or you don't have to worry too much about, having the exact right code. Now, within B2B, of course, the catalog tends to be very big. And I know that some might be concerned that, we have this huge catalog. How do you ensure that, we're getting the products quickly or fast? And I think it's a very valid question. And that's what we also strive to do here at Klevu very much, is to make sure that we provide a fast and flexible search experience. And I think that's one of the main benefit of having a Mac architecture is that we are a microservice and we are cloud native. And that will ensure us to provide results in a very quickly way, or render for results very quickly. And even for those who want that extra speed, we can even set up a dedicated infrastructure for lightning fast results. Now, on the actually category pages and search result pages, this is something I see quite a lot that is usually lacking quite heavily. At Klevu, what we are doing is that we are providing the entire search result page along with the category page templates that you then can build out the way you want. But the very neat thing about this is that we're using dynamic facets, and which of course are multi-select as well. But as you then start to filter away, we will dynamically start to remove filters that no longer make sense to show based upon what products are being viewed. So we can ensure that the filters as well feel relevant to what you're doing. And we can even use Klevu's AI across the filter range. So Klevu can actually also analyze how customers or shoppers are using the filters and start to reorder them based upon how they are actually being used. And that will ensure that even the filters, and specifically in B2B, that tends to have a very large number of filters, will ensure that the most used, the most, let's say, popular filters are actually being displayed first. A final thing to mention is, I think it's very important and sometimes overlooked to actually engage and educate customers with content. And if you remember from one of my earlier slides, I think it was 94% of B2B buyers actually prefer to educate themselves rather than talk with a salesperson. So why not, in that case, include some content on your page as well and have the customers engage themselves directly from your store? So what we can do at Klevu, even though we are fully focusing on e-commerce, that's our bread and butter, we can still include content within the search and have that searchable in a very flexible and easy way. So here, for example, as Leroy Merlin have done, is that they've included a lot of their content and they have a lot of information around their products. So if you search for tiles, for example, you get a lot of information of how to lay tiles and so forth. And I think that is something that is usually overlooked, but it's very, very valuable. And well, I think this quote that I've included here, that 68% of shoppers view return policies before making a purchase, might be a little bit more tied into B2C, but still it's one of those things where if you have any information like this, if you're able to include it into the search, it kind of narrows that hesitation to actually make a purchase if you know that you can easily have this information available.
Yeah, so I think a B2B example would perhaps be when can I have the ships or the goods delivered to the specific site? Is it the site address, the office address, or what kind of shipping policies do you have? So that's a perfect way of curate good landing page content with that kind of messaging. Have that indexable in search. I think that's a great example.
Yeah, correct. Now, finally, these were kind of few slide shares. What I wanted to do more for most of the session is to actually give you a quick overview of what we call Klevu Merchant Center. And this is actually how you can work with the tools that Klevu is providing. So what we are offering is something called the Klevu Merchant Center. So this would be your admin panel. Now, if we sign in here, let me hope that I have my password still correct. We do. Here we've split out the solutions in three parts. So we have the search, we have the category merchandising, and the recommendations. Now, the first thing we have is this dashboard here. And we have 1 year worth of data stored in here. So you can monitor all the way down to the last year. Just first, you have some overarching analytics around search. So the search made, how many products clicked, top locations, the revenue from search. You have sort of your most frequently searched keywords. You have which products have been clicked using which keywords, along with how many times. The locations from all the searches, where they are coming from, And this is actually something a lot of our customers are using this information to build out, for example, their Google AdWords campaigns. So we can identify that people in Helsinki search a different way compared to what people in Auckland are searching. And we have our most sold products here as well, which are coming directly from search. Now, the most interesting part here is actually this one called keywords with 0 results. So what are people searching across your site, but they're getting a 0 result? Now, ideally, of course, you'd like to keep this to a low number as possible. And it could be that it's a product people are expecting to find on your store, but you're not selling it, which in itself is a very good indication. But it could also be a word that Klevu has not yet figured out or learned. And in those cases, what you can do is that if you feel that you're actually having something that is relatable to this, you could obviously add a synonym manually here if you'd like to. And in that case, Klevu will be able to identify this product with a given synonym. Now, we have an even more robust analytics dashboard here as well. So you could actually start to drill down to a very specific level. So we could go by country level, we could drill into a city level, we can switch between devices. We have our key stats here. So we have some key metrics along with different graphs to kind of give us some information of what is actually going on the side. We even have this search term analysis here, which allows us to identify how searches are being searched together. So if I search, for example, here for watch, what this will tell me is that when someone is searching for watch, they typically include the word analog here as well. And this will give us information of, should we build out our product descriptions in a different ways? Are there some products that are being searched for more compared to others that aren't relatable to each other? So we might be able to want to do something with our digital watches as we see that it's not being searched for together. We even have a filter analysis here, so we can monitor how people are using our filters as well. So there's a lot of information here to actually give you a comprehensive overview of what is working on the site when it comes to product discovery. I'm going to give a few examples. There's a lot to walk through here, so I'm just going to give you sort of the overview. And please keep in mind that this is based on my own personal demo store, and the data that I've set up here is not very good. So, but obviously, as Klevu is a self-driven machine learning solution, it's not mandatory to work in here by any means, but you can always do this if you want to merchandise. And if you want to take control of, let's say, the machine learning and sort of override it, we are allowing for different ways to actually promote products here. So we have, for example, something called product level boosting. And what this allows us to do is to boost that one individual product. So I have my entire product catalog range here, and I apologize that this is more of a B2C instead of B2B. But if I search for my jackets, for example, what I can say is that I would actually like to boost, actually, let me do a watch instead. What I can do now is say that I want to boost my endurance watch here, and I'll give this a boosting score, and I can also demote this or depromote it if I want to, and I click save. What that means is, of course, that whenever someone uses a search query that is relevant to this specific watch, this watch would be shown above any other watches that I have in my product catalog. So again, this can be very time consuming. So we also have something called rule-based merchandising, which allows you to create different rules to actually boost multiple products. So if I were to go in here, I could create a new rule. Let's say I want to boost, for example, my jackets that are high in stock, for example. But this could, of course, be anything you want. So it could be marginals is one a lot of our customers use. But this allows me to pick the conditions here, and any attributes you have are workable. But in my case, I'm just going to pick from my categories. I'm going to select any of my jackets, which I don't have. So let's do pants instead. As I mentioned, my data is not very well set up. So let's instead do cardio. And then I'm going to select my stock level. and I'm going to say that I want to get rid of all of my cardio products that are high in stock. What I then can do is give this a boosting score, and I click save. And as you know, my data here is not very good, but essentially this allows me to kind of boost all of my products that consist in my cardio category that are high in stock.
I think this is a great way, because typically you find that product catalogs are rather static. In a B2B setting, especially, you set it up as being a digital product catalog, but you want it to be more curated based on your business rules. You want it to be more curated towards the individual user or different segments of users. And this is where you have the mandate to actually be able to apply very simply your business logic. So as Rasmus is showing, this is very quick and dirty, but it's kind of, you know, this is what you can do to add these rule-based merchandising capabilities to both enhance the search experience as well as the category experience. And in projects, what we do is we typically set up these rules once and then let it run, and then the engine learns. I guess over time, Rasmus, you will be able to play around with this to A/B test or see which one goes best. Is it the AI or is it the manually merchandise rules? So I think this is still a great example to see how you can actually apply business rules instead of these static product catalogs.
Yeah, correct. So it's as you said, Robin, it will of course learn over time and become smarter and smarter. And you can A/B test specifically categories. You can A/B test to measure these different types of strategies, or how your merchandising is comparing against the AI, for example. And I think also one thing to mention is, of course, that once we set up these rules, the machine learning will still work side by side to it. So if we're boosting, for example, here our category, our cardio category, all the products within that specific category will still, of course, be monitored by the machine learning as well. So it's kind of working side by side. And we could also actually boost product based on how people are searching. So we could say that we want to set up a specific keyword promotion. So say, for example, here that if someone is searching for the word jacket, jackets, or jack, what I can do then is say that I actually want to show this product first, then this one, and then this one. And if there are any other relevant products, they will be based on the machine learning after these products. So this is a very quick and easy way, again, if we want to highlight something very specific. We can exclude products the same way as well if we want to. And we can also work with some banners in the search. And this is a very quick, again, an easy and quick way to actually promote either a ongoing campaign or a specific set of brands or something. So we could add these banners into the search result page. We could add them into the quick search, or we can even have them that you have to search a specific keywords for it to show. So there are different ways to actually work with the tools in here. There's also a dedicated synonym management tab here where you can upload synonyms if you've done that already. But I'm now going to move in very quickly to the smart category merchandising tool. And it follows the same logic here. So it's a very robust dashboard here. And you can start to drill this down even further. But first you have your categories here, how well they're performing. You have your individual categories, which products are in there, how they are performing. You could even drill it down to a very specific product level. So again, a lot of information that you can have here, and all of the data that we have in here, of course, you can send this directly to email, so you don't have to work it from here. And again, of course, the category merchandising follows the same logic. It's AI driven. It's all kind of machine learning, so constantly learning by itself. But you have several tools here to take control of your categories. So we have here split this up under our visual merchandising. We have default rules, schedule campaigns, and A/B test. Now, default rules and facets, that's sort of the default settings if you want to. So if we go in here and click on manage rules and facets, the first thing it will do is to ask the category you want to work in. I'm just going to select all, and this will lock my category so that no one else in my team can actually work with them while I'm doing it. And then here on the left side, we have all our categories that we've set up. So I'm just going to pick here, let's say men's bottoms. And what I'm seeing here now is a reflection of what is actually being displayed on the front end. So Klevu is here telling us that this is the most popular products in this specific category, followed by this one, this one, this one, and all the way down to the last product. But now we can start to merchandise this and add some rules to this. So again, any attributes that you have, you can work with. So, I'm just going to make a very simple one. So let's say I'm going to pick a color here, and we're going to select a red one. You can, of course, add several rules to this, and you can even mix and match this to have an and or logic here. But just to make this very simple, I'm just going to apply a red boosting to this. And as you can see, we're then pushing all of our red products forward to the top. And this rule that I've created, I can now choose to either copy this to all of my categories or to specific categories only. And I can toggle to have it on or off. Now the machine learning will still also work here in the background. So let's say that all of a sudden these Ether gym pants become very popular. They would be able to climb above these red products. But if I, for example, would like to, I can start to pin a few products as well. And if I pin some products, they will stay in that pin position no matter what is going on the side. And out of these pin products as well, I can also change the order of them by drag and dropping them around, or even writing in here to change this to the #1 position. So again, there's a lot of different options to actually work with when it comes to the category merchandising part. And also, as mentioned, we can work with our facets here. So here I've chosen to use the default option, but I might want to switch this to Klevu AI, which means that here Klevu will actually then start to now monitor the filters and dynamically change them. But I still may want to pin one specific filter. So I'll pin the price one, and that will always be shown first, while these other filters will start to be more dynamic. Now, if I save and publish, it takes around 10 minutes for these rules to take effect on the front end. As mentioned, we have scheduled campaigns as well. This would be the same thing that you can do, but instead of making it as a default rule, you're putting a timestamp on it to say that these rules should take effect at a certain date and end at a specific date. So that allows you to be more proactive with upcoming campaigns and so forth. And then, as Robbie mentioned earlier, A/B testing is very popular to kind of identify the best working strategy, or you might want to test the AI versus manual. And this allows you to do that very, very simply. So what I can do now is just quickly set up an A/B test. I might say that I want to compare the conversion rate. I'll just give this a test. So manual versus AI. We select a category. Let's say we want to do it in our maybe gear category. I select the duration time. Let's run it to the 8th. We go to save and next, and then it allows us to choose the variants. So variants are essentially, well, what you want to compare. So we can have up to 5 variants, but in this case, I'm just going to use 2 variants. So our our AI version and our manual version. So now I'm just going to quickly merchandise this category. So let's just, for the sake of it, say that we want to see how well some pinning does, and we're going to save that. And then I can select how I want to split the traffic. I want to keep this fair, so I'm going to split it 50-50. And then I'm just going to start the test. And again, you know that my data is not very good and I didn't do this complete, but essentially that's all you need to do to get this up and running. And then automatically Klevu will split the traffic evenly, 50-50, whenever someone visits this specific category.
And I think this is great because this is also, it gives you statistics on what performs best, because typically you find that sales managers or directors, they want the top runners to always be visible throughout the site when you merchandise on the e-commerce store. But actually customers are finding the top selling products either by search or CSV uploads or EDI solutions or whatnot. But the actual customer experience that you have when browsing, when searching, when looking for these specific products, this is where you can actually see that this kind of manual merchandising rules where you can have boosts done or let the AI run by itself. This is actually where you can find opportunities that you have manually overlooked by just using these static recommendation modules and so on. So I think this is a great example of actually pulling stats to say this actually works. The personalized experience is far better than the static experience. So this is a way to prove it.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. Now, just the final thing I wanted to show you within this merchant centers is around the recommendations. So again, it follows the same logic, comprehensive dashboard here. You have all the analytics you need to kind of identify this. And the recommendations, of course, they will also work with the same AI logic. So will optimize themselves over time. But if we want to, we could set up our recommendations directly from here. So if I were to do that, I'm just going to go in here to recommendations and create a new one. From here, we can select where do we actually want to show our recommendations. Is it on the home page? Is it on the category page, the product page, or the checkout page? So I'm just going to do a product page. I'm going to select a name for this. Creative as I am, I'm going to use test 12. Then it will allow me to choose a design. So we have here our Klevu default template. And of course, these can be done on a very code level, but what we are actually also offering is a GUI editor. So you can actually build out a product recommendation template from here using these visual tools. So even someone as non-technical as I am could actually build out these templates, but you could of course use a code editor as well. So let me just go back in here. There, and then from here, we've saved some templates that we work with. We have them here. And again, you see how creative I am. I have very different names here. But let's say we want to use a T badge. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to use that look and then continue. Then we can select to who should we show this, everyone, or do we want to segment this using one of our segmentation partners? But we're just going to use this to show this to everyone. And then we have some pre-made logics here, depending on where you're actually showing this. So this is the product page. So we have, for example, similar products, what other people viewed, products bought together. We can create a custom logic, and we have visually similar recommendations, and then handpicked products. All of these logics, of course, again, follows the AI learnings. So Klevu will optimize these and make sure that they are the most relevant. But we could also say that we want to show similar products. And then we could even add rules to this. So we can say that we want to show similar products, but they have to be out of a certain price, or they have to be a specific brand, or they have to have a specific stock level or anything like that. But I'm actually going to do a custom logic very quickly, and I'm going to create this something called shop the look. So again, I apologize for not this being a B2B setup or more of a B2C, but maybe if you use your imagination, you can figure out what this could be used for. Then we can select here, what is the maximum products to show? So I'm going to select that I maximum want to show 15 products and minimum I want to show 3 products. Then I'm going to create some rules. So I'm going to select now from where do I want this to, or where do I want to show this? And I'm going to say that I want to show this on my category of jackets. And then I'm going to do some filtering here to say that, okay, when someone is viewing a jacket, what should happen? Because I'm trying to create a shop the look feel, I'm going to show some pants here. I'm going to select the pants. But then we're going to say that we want to match the color of the jacket, or match the color of the pants with the jacket that is being used. So we're going to use this current product value offering. Now, obviously, if the data was good here, I would also include maybe that it should be from the same brand, or maybe of the same gender, or anything like that. But because I don't have it, I'll have to make do with this. So we'll see what happens. Now, the idea here is that whenever someone were to view this product, Klevu will now start to show matching pants here, which are essentially the same color. And I know that this one is actually green, but I've name. It's actually blue in my description, but it will dynamically change these now. So if we go and look at, for example, something that would be another color, let's see if we have, for example, here we have a red. So this is now happening when someone is viewing a red product. And of course, we can add multiple of these to actually make sure that we are matching these correctly. But this is an easy way to actually create a sort of custom logic. Now, if I click save, if I'm happy with that, I go to save and integrate, it will give me a very small piece of code that I'll just add to where I want to. And that's all I need to do. That was sort of a very quick overview of some of the tools that are in the Klevu Merchant Center. Now, there are several other tools you can actually use, but just in the interest of everyone's time, I don't think it's necessary to delve too much into that. The final thing I wanted to mention before handing it over back to Robin is that I just found it very interesting that Gartner said that by 2025, 80% of enterprise businesses will need to have some form of conversational focused resource. So what we are developing at Klevu, as mentioned quickly in the early beginnings, is something called Moi, which means hi in Finnish. And this is essentially a conversational search, and it's the way we see the next evolution within product discovery. So it's aimed to be your virtual assistant, really how it would be when you're going to a physical store. So you can actually start to ask questions of it. It will start to ask questions back of you, and it's kind of it exists within search. So it's like a search within search. And it allows for a much more, let's say, personal relationship with the search, if that is a way to put it. But it's the next big thing, and I'm happy for anyone that is interesting to talk more about this. So please feel free to reach out if you would like to know more about this. With that, I'd like to thank you very much for my time, and happy to take any questions.
Great. Thanks, Rasmus. And I think this is the next best thing within the commerce experience on merchandising and actually driving relevant experiences to your customers. So I think this is what the B2B audience can learn from B2C, because they're typically having a wider team to manually merchandise and execute these business rules to a larger extent than what B2B audience typically does. So I think it's a great example. I know it's a quick demo, but it gives a feel on what capabilities you actually have within the toolbox. So I think that's great. We have some questions coming in. It's going to be some to do with integrations. So if I just start to open up, what kind of other products or platforms does Klevu integrate to? Do you have any standard connectors to some, or how do you integrate in general? Is it I know it's a big question maybe, but maybe you have something to start with.
Yeah, I think I can hand that over to our very well solution architect, Aaron, for this one.
Yes, well, thanks, Rasmus, for your part, and thanks, Robin, for these questions. So the question was whether we can, or how do we integrate with different platforms. So I'm happy to say that Klevu is essentially platform agnostic. So it can be implemented into any e-commerce environment, into any e-commerce platform. Obviously, for some of the tools and some of the platforms out there, we have direct connectors because they are either most popular ones, so there are a lot of merchants using them, or because we have some really good relationships with them. So we do have direct connectors for syncing the data or indexing the data with commerce tools, with Magento, with Shopify, with BigCommerce, with Salesforce Commerce Cloud, and now the recent one is Shopware, the German-based e-commerce platform. For anyone else, but even for these platforms, if for any reason a direct connector might not work, we can get the data from the platform into Klevu's index by either using the feed or by using our indexing API. The main part of any integration is to get the data, right? Because we are only as smart as to begin being smart, we need some data to start working with. So that's one of the main things. The second part of the integration is the front-end implementation, but for that we also have multiple options. We have our own set of templates that someone can override. Someone, if they are not interested in that, they can simply fetch anything from Klevu by using our API endpoints. And for those who are building maybe a headless front-end environment, we also have a headless software development kit ready, which eases the process for developers of integrating Klevu. Again, underneath it all is utilizing our APIs, but in a more structured and more faster way to integrate.
Great. And I think, Rasmus, you partly answered this, I think, on a slide, but when buying a Klevu solution, do you have to use the entire solution, or how does it maintain? You kind of, obviously you benefit from executing all the modules, but how does it work?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. And no, you can mix and match these. The only requirement is that search is a mandatory solution to have. So you have to use the search. All the other solution you can then mix and match to it. And the reason why search is mandatory, because a large part of the self-learning from Klevu is actually coming from search data. And that is a conscious decision we've made to use a lot of the search data within the machine learning part. So that's the reason for having to use search.
Great. And I think some of the questions now, I hope, got answered in the demo, but it's around how you can start personalize the customer experience. But I think it's, you can either manually merchandise by simple tools or start to let the AI run. But can you explain what happens during a session when the user kind of skips from browsing to searching back to browsing again? How can that experience be personalized?
Yes, and I'll believe Aaron can give a more better explanation than I can on how that happens.
No worries about that. So the personalization part with Klevu is based on one-to-one basis, right? So what we have seen on a lot of different solutions is that they use sort of collaborative personalization, meaning that you are continuously checking what, on an aggregate level, what others are buying, what others are viewing, and then presenting some things that other users are maybe interested in. What we have seen is that we really want to have this as personal as possible, because someone may not really be interested in what other users are seeing on average. So what we do is we take into account the session and we keep track of what a customer is clicking on. What are they effectively searching for and clicking on? And when personalization is enabled on Klevu's side, you will see, or the customer who is entering the site for the second or third time, they will see the search results, but also the category products within the categories, even recommendations would be tailored to their previous interactions. So they will start seeing more of the products that they were previously interested in. In this way, we are sort of having this one-to-one personalization, which we feel is much more beneficial than having something on a more average or aggregate level shown in front of the customer.
That's great. And if I may, is there a limit to the product catalog? If you have, within B2B, you typically have a lot of SKUs. Is there a limitation? How do you support large product catalogs?
There's always some limits, right? But we are seeing we have customers with several millions of SKUs. Obviously, for some really large catalogs, we need to have a joint scoping session to figure out what is the best way to actually get the data flowing. But we are having customers with several million SKUs without working with Klevu and using Klevu without any issues. What needs sometimes to be considered or understood is that sometimes the quantity of, let's say, SKUs, the number of SKUs is not crucial. It's more about maybe the additional information that also goes alongside any of the products. Sometimes you can have a catalog with 100,000 products, but each product has like hundreds of attributes associated to them. that makes things even a little bit more complex than if you had more products but with fewer attributes. So it's always about understanding the actual use case, talking to the merchant, to their agency, to figure out what is the best way to integrate from both the data sync point and from the front end side.
Great. All right, guys. I think that's all we have time for. Thank you very much, Rasmus and Aaron. It was, to me, a very interesting session. I hope everyone enjoys it, and happy to be back with the next webinar session sometime soon. And please reach out to us, any of us, if you have any questions, and happy to take the conversation from there. Thanks very much for today, and see you next time.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Robin, for having us. And it was great being here.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.